Welcome back to Atlassian Team 26. We are live streaming right here in Anaheim. I'm Allison Kosick alongside Christoph Bertrand. We are getting through the afternoon here at the exhibit hall and about to talk about a good partnership here.
A very special one, two big names, AWS and Atlassian and AI native. Surprise, surprise.
Yes.
Talk about that.
All right, well, let's bring in our guest, Sarah Cooper. She's the General Manager, AI native at Amazon and an AWS partner with Atlassian. Welcome to theCUBE.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Allison.
Talk me through the partnership that you have with Atlassian.
Sure. So AWS has been working with Atlassian for many years. And really the migration to the cloud and the move to Atlassian cloud and understanding how do we set up that environment and get it ready for this new AI world that we're all living in these days. And so really we like to talk about migrating to AI, and moving into AI gets you both the power of AWS cloud and the power of Atlassian's core product suite.
Yeah, and you both, meaning AWS, Atlassian, you are major players in enterprise technology. Why is this partnership so important at this moment?
Well, in one, AI is reshaping what it is we do, how we do it, how we think about products, how we think about engaging with customers, end to end, and hence the title AI native, but end-to-end things are really fundamentally changing, and they're happening fast. And if you aren't ready with a very flexible cloud environment with global connectivity, with security and data privacy and the depth of services that AWS helps bring to the table, you're not able to move fast enough in an AI world. And Atlassian has been partnering with us on all of those features. So they're in 13 global availability zones today. They doubled them in the last 12 months. I think it was 7 of them came out in the last 12 months. So moving very quickly. We are where our enterprise customers are, extremely critical for data privacy, for sovereignty, for these core enterprise features and capabilities that make AI possible. It's not just startups and everyone out running around trying the latest, OpenCloud. This is about how do we fundamentally change work. I was pitching to somebody, AI matters when GDP changes because of AI. And those are who our enterprise customers are.
Pretty heady stuff.
Hey,
yeah,
we're true.
We're talking enterprise grade at scale, which of course is not easy. And it's funny, it feels like history is repeating itself. A few years ago, we're talking about replatforming, right? That was a few years ago. I'm probably dating myself a bit here. And here again, we have another migration. And now it's an AI native one in many ways. So obviously it needs to happen at scale. It needs to be elastic and flexible. Who are the successful companies that you see leveraging this partnership? What traits do they have?
Yeah, I led our industry products organization before stepping into my role in AI native. I would not have predicted the industries that are leaning forward and leaning fast into AI. Utilities, power companies. And it's not just because they're out trying to figure out how are they going to deliver power for AI data centers. It's actually their consumption of the underlying technology, because they're in a very dynamic space. This has been true across automotive. It's true in healthcare, life sciences. Everyone has to move faster today, and the world is less predictable. Whether that's tariffs, whether it's global warming, it means that we all need to be able to move fast. And so that shift and change into companies that have traditionally been long planning cycles, that have been very capital heavy, all of a sudden they've got to be able to be flexible in both their business, which then translates down to their architecture. And on the people and process side, on collaboration, on making the hard changes, frankly. The technology, we like to think it's hard. It is nothing compared to the people and process. And so Atlassian brings that people and process and collaboration. And, with these teamwork graphs, oh my gosh, now it's minutes instead of hours to days to weeks.
Would it be fair to say that, in a sense, the most difficult part of a migration to become AI native or become more AI native, maybe, isn't it about mitigating operational risk? Is that where you come in a sense, helping with you mentioned privacy, sovereignty, security?
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Security is a big one. And we've heard a lot about, AI and using data to train models, for instance. And one of the advantages of this partnership is that, our products like Bedrock are underneath the AI features and functionality for Atlassian, which means, Bedrock doesn't train with customers' data. So your data is never part of the model. It's never made part of that model. You have control over, we do a lot of fine tuning for models and so forth. You've got a lot of control over what data is used. Additionally, again, the cloud has been enterprise grade for many years. So a lot of those features that were sitting, within the guardrails, the governance structures, the visibility, all of that is available and percolates through the Atlassian products. And I think that one of the advantages, if you're a large enterprise, if you're a mining company, if you're an automotive company, and thinking through, how do I become AI native? The big issue is actually people. I also sit in our World Economic Forum Futures Council on advanced manufacturing and supply chain. It always comes down to the people. We have structured companies, particularly I work a lot with automotive companies, and they're big Atlassian user and AWS user. They are some of the most siloed. You might be working on something that ends up on the same chip in a car, right, and never actually connect except through multiple layers. And things like, again, I'm kind of taken with teamwork in this concept of context graphs and the ability to put my world and the world that is dependent on me and that I'm dependent on at my fingertips. Now that organizational silo, right, can be can maintain governance structure without acting as friction between collaboration, which I think is hugely powerful when you start trying to figure out how do you deliver a car in a year or 2 years and not this kind of 5-year product cycle.
Right.
That's immediately you're buying tech debt. Just tell people you're driving tech debt off the sales lot unless you can condense that product cycle.
Yeah. What are enterprise customers asking for most right now when it comes to AI security?
It's it kind of comes in two forms. At the C-suite, we get a lot of questions on how do I even think about AI security? How do I think about, do I put a governance structure in place? Do I do a central top-down? We think about it, come up with something. And my advice on that is usually by the minute you've got a consensus across your business units and across the IT department, the world has changed. It could be like 3 weeks and the world has totally changed. So I like to think of it more as a set of tenets around what are we trying to do, and then sandbox environments that better help you test and figure out, are we comfortable with where this is? Testing is something that when humans do it, it's very time consuming, right? But agents can go out and test these technical environments, these new apps, almost instantaneously in parallel, so that you've got this very broad ability to go and poke and see where you might have vulnerabilities you hadn't anticipated. At the ground level, where folks are, trying to get their hands on these tools and thinking, okay, we see this constantly. If you don't provide the tools with the capabilities that your employees want to use, they're going to go learn how to do AI in their personal life. And they'll bring back some of the mental models, which is valuable. But when they come to work, if they've got something that feels less than what they've got at home, that's not a good feeling. So I think it's really important to put together the teams where you can very quickly analyze and unblock the latest features, whether that's context graphs in your Confluence environment, whether that's a companion app in your meetings. All of that is incredibly powerful data and context that then allows me to send an agent out and, help me prep for an interview. Like, go pull all of those things for me.
Are there some use cases, like maybe tell us about the top 3 or 4 use cases that you're seeing across the various industries? My suspicion is there is an evolution happening. And if you've seen that evolution already in what is essentially only a couple of years, really, what has it been?
Absolutely. I would even go with revolution. So my organization sits within the Gen AI Innovation Center. We've got hundreds of applied scientists and strategists that go out and work with our customers on kind of prototyping and standing up their initial AI use cases or things that are difficult. We do a lot of model refinement and customization. So we kind of sit at that cusp of what are we not sure is a pattern of success yet? So what's new? And I will fully admit, as I hope anybody would, that 2 years ago, the AI use cases were maybe 60 to 70% chatbots. These are all of my documents. Let me ask a question. It was sort of search 2.0, maybe 3.0. Yeah. We'll say they're search. These days, we see everything from claims handling in the insurance industry, right? I mean, massive amounts of paper. So that's a lot of data processing. That's also really looking at risk in different ways, trying to understand, are there parameters that we weren't able to look across before, either because we didn't have access to that data, because we didn't have the models to be able to look at multiple scenarios and understand the correlations and causation between them. And then be able to get out to a customer, not just here's a number, but let me give you an explanation. We're seeing things where customers are starting to do some image generation. So insurance companies being able to say, hey, this is, the photo of your car that you sent us. Let me now show you one. When we fix it, it's going to look like this over these 3 models. And here's what we identified. It's not just a circle as if somebody was writing on a tablet. It actually shows you this is the indentation mark. This is, this is how this incident happened. And I think that gives a much better relationship, between end customer and their insurer. But it also helps the insurer understand, are we seeing more? Are there more people on TikTok in their cars, God forbid? And understanding a little bit more about how their risk and how their cost structures change under the covers. And again, that brings down their costs. It's a win-win. And customers, our insurers, and the underlying tech kind of all moving together.
Every major tech company is investing heavily in AI right now. What differentiates this partnership that AWS and Atlassian have in such a crowded market?
Well, a little cheeky of me, but we both have really long histories of delivering with end customers in mind at some very hard problems. I think there are a lot of capabilities out there where folks are kind of testing the market with AI, and they've built something that works to a certain level or to a certain scale or within a certain feature depth. I think the depth of capability between the two companies is almost unheard of. We also have a lot of joint customers where you don't get to be AI native until you've solved end-to-end problems. And you need to be able to rethink how you come at something. Even prompts, right? I'm old enough that if I go to ask AI to do something, I want a photo of Sarah riding a unicorn. Photorealistic. I'd spend hours trying to come up with exactly the prompt to get me that. Until I watched YouTube and talked to somebody who's a lot younger than me. Is why don't you ask AI? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? You ask the LLM what prompt you should give to the... So 5 seconds later, I'm riding a unicorn. But it's a mental model shift of where the answer comes from. And I think on the technology side, AWS has a lot of products. We've got things like Connect that sit, our call center software that sit at this higher level. We're using agents a lot in that. But to get to that holistic mental model shift, how do you get people to think differently about the work they're doing, what they should be doing? That requires an environment that Atlassian provides. It requires that connection across all of the information, all of the tasks to do, the people, physical objects. Like my client was telling us about that today. It pulls it all together and then puts it at your fingertips. It's kind of like your care team. From healthcare. Yeah. And I think that combination of thinking differently, which is unlocked by Atlassian, plus the technical capabilities of the cloud, really makes anything possible and quickly.
Great. Well, in closing, I think, we've heard quite a bit about, obviously through the years, AWS and Atlassian. It feels like we're really at a time when you can deliver AI native enterprise grade. In closing, some quick thoughts on, what should I do next if I'm a customer, an existing customer? What are the steps?
Yeah, I think with really thinking through how to become AI native, the first thing is to understand, what do you expect out of it? I mean, that's kind of true anywhere. That's not, a bomb of knowledge. But if you understand that, like, hey, I think we're going to be a fundamentally different company in an AI world, and you can take that step back. Are car companies are becoming software companies? Well, yes and no, but now you can write software in minutes. So how does that change? Are we now, our automotive manufacturers now in the entertainment business because we've got more capabilities in cars? Like, really understanding what that looks like then helps kind of work backwards towards, what do my people need to do to change? Because if people change, then, products and how we work, the fundamentals, the business margins that we all want out of AI fall out of that. And I think that then provides kind of a map for how to think about adopting some of these new features from Atlassian, and also helps drive the prioritization of whether that's new products or new, systems of work.
Yes. Such a great conversation. Thanks so much for stopping by theCUBE.
Thanks, Allison. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
And you've been watching theCUBE, the leader in live technology coverage and enterprise tech analysis. We will be right back.